Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're tackling a behavior that can be super frustrating. People who interrupt and talk over others. Is it rudeness, anxiety, or something else? We're diving into the psychology of this behavior and unpacking 10 key traits these individuals often display, supported by studies, examples, and practical insights. Let's get into it. Trait number 1. High dominance. The first trait is high dominance. Interruptions can be a way of asserting control in conversations. Dominant individuals often see discussions as opportunities to lead, rather than collaborate. A study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that dominant people interrupt more often in group settings to establish authority. You might recognize this in that one coworker who constantly cuts off others in meetings. They're not just being pushy, they're asserting their place. Trait number 2. Impulsivity. Impulsivity is another common reason. Some people interrupt because they can't hold back their thoughts. This is often linked to ADHD or other conditions involving impulse control. For instance, someone might blurt out an idea in a brainstorming session, not because they're rude, but because their brain is firing on all cylinders. Research in Psychological Bulletin explains how this kind of impulsivity works. It's less about dominance and more about urgency. Trait number 3. Low empathy. Interrupting often reflects low empathy. These individuals may not fully grasp the impact of cutting others off. Psychologist Dr. Adam Galinsky notes that low empathy people are less likely to pick up on nonverbal cues, like someone pausing to think. Picture someone interrupting mid-sentence without realizing they've derailed your train of thought. It's frustrating but often unintentional. Trait number 4. Anxiety or insecurity. Here's a twist. Interruptions can also come from anxiety or insecurity. People who fear being overlooked might rush to speak before the chance slips away. Imagine a shy team member interrupting during a group discussion just to ensure their idea is heard. Dr. Ellen Hendrickson, a clinical psychologist, explains that this behavior often masks deeper fears about self-worth. Trait number 5. High ambition or competitiveness. Ambitious or competitive individuals may interrupt to highlight their achievements or assert their expertise. It's less about the conversation and more about winning it. Think of someone turning a casual chat about weekend plans into a competition. "Oh, you went hiking? I climbed Everest last year." Classic competitiveness. Trait number 6. Overconfidence. Overconfidence plays a big role, too. People who believe their ideas are more valuable than others might interrupt simply because they think they're adding more important input. In group settings, this can look like someone jumping in with their solution, dismissing others' ideas without fully listening. Confidence is great, overconfidence? Not so much. Trait number 7. Cultural or environmental factors. Interrupting isn't always a bad thing. It can depend on cultural norms. In some cultures, overlapping speech signals enthusiasm and engagement. Linguist Deborah Tannen observed that in high-involvement cultures, like in parts of Italy or Latin America, interrupting is a natural part of conversational flow. So, before we judge, context is key. Trait number 8. Narcissistic tendencies. People with narcissistic traits often interrupt to bring attention back to themselves. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a psychologist specializing in narcissism, explains that these individuals crave the spotlight and will hijack conversations to stay in control. An example? You're sharing a heartfelt story, and they cut in with, "That reminds me of me." It's a classic narcissist move. Trait number 9. Habitual behavior. Sometimes, it's just a habit. People who grew up in environments where interrupting was the norm may carry this behavior into adulthood. For example, a family dinner where everyone talks over each other might normalize this behavior, making it hard for someone to recognize it as disruptive in other contexts. Trait number 10. Lack of awareness. Finally, some people simply don't realize they're interrupting. They may be so engrossed in their thoughts that they miss conversational cues altogether. Research in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior highlights that individuals who struggle with social awareness often fail to recognize when they're cutting someone off. It's less intentional and more about being in their own head. Conclusion. So, there you have it. The 10 traits of people who interrupt, according to psychology. From dominance and insecurity to cultural norms and sheer habit, understanding these behaviors can help us respond with more patience, or set boundaries when needed. What do you think? Have you ever dealt with someone like this, or caught yourself interrupting? Let's chat in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more psychology insights. See you in the next video, and as always, take care and keep growing.